Hi guys, I'm Shmee. Hello and welcome back to the channel where you join me today for an update on the Shmeemobiles, a garage update, although sadly there's some bad news about my Porsche Taycan. Now some good Taycan news is that with Omaze you could win a brand new Taycan Turbo S along with $20,000 in cash with taxes and shipping included, all while supporting a good cause in the process. More information about that at omaze.com/150. Today though is actually my first time back here in the garage at home in 2021. It's been quite a while since departing on the Where's Shmee US Edition tour. In fact, I didn't really park up the cars intending to go away for quite so long. So the G63 is absolutely filthy. The Taycan is no longer here in the garage because it was taken away considering what happened. A friend of mine actually came to check on the cars in the process. So today we're going to head over in the G63 over to Dump Barn to go and see some of the other Shmeemobiles, have an update on where everything is and what is going to be happening next, and of course see what's happened to the Taycan. I was last here in the garage, technically now last year, back in December, about 4 months ago. I did not intend to be away for quite so long, but at the time I parked up 3 of the Shmeemobiles here in the underground garage, only one of which is here at the moment, the G63, exactly where I left it. Downstairs we have the Toyota GR Yaris with its new rally livery. That's actually away at the moment as well, having some upgrades done that we are going to be seeing very soon as we crack on with some of the tuning and modifications to it. And then here was parked the Taycan Turbo S. Now this is normally the largest of my current spaces, 2 empty adjacent spaces. It does become a bit of a squeeze if they are all full, but the car was reversed in, right-hand drive, so the door can open. It does hang out quite a long way because of course it is a very big car, but unfortunately for me at some point in the last month or so, somebody managed to clip the front corner, presumably while parking up here. A visitor, a contractor, maybe just somebody turning around in the garage, and because we didn't know about it, we didn't get to check the cameras, and unfortunately it now has some damage that today we need to work out what to do with. So we're going to go over to Dump Barn where the car is. The guys were taking a quick look at it for me and looking after it while we decided what to do, and today try and set some form of a plan when I can see it myself and what's happened to the bumper and also to the carbon fiber splitter, which is not something you ever want to get damaged on a car like that. Today therefore we are taking the G63, which was not clean by any stretch of the imagination when I departed because I did not intend to be away for quite so long, and now it has a couple of months of dust sitting on the top as well from the ventilation systems here in the garage, but I believe all should be fine with the car. It's been run, it's been taken out for a short drive, it is parked very close to the pillar just there as well. But let's come on round then and get this started up. I'm sure it will sound as fantastic as ever, no doubt. Yes, it will want the engine to be run, but it's been, what, 4 or so months since I last took a seat on board here. So should we do this the fairly noisy way? Let's see if I can remember exactly how to do this. We've got all of the messages. Pop it up in the dynamic selector to Sport Plus and press start while holding the paddle. Sounds good, the Akrapovic exhaust on this thing. Right, so let's get over to Dump Barn and go work out what's happened to my Taycan. If you're wondering about this car as we make our way out of town, the G63 is very much the workhorse of the collection. It's coming up now for almost 2 years old. In about 2.5 months time, this will be 2 full years old, and in that time we've done about 12,000 miles, so nothing crazy. But even at the moment, have a look behind, we've still got the go-kart hidden away in the bag because it's basically being used as a storage machine while I don't yet have anywhere to store things like that. So I don't really see this departing the garage until there is a direct future replacement or addition or something that can do what this can do in terms of towing trailers, lugging stuff around, being good in all weather. Yes, the M3 and the Taycan will serve most daily driver duties, but this is a car that does just about everything while being comfortable, while being pretty cool, and while being pretty timeless as well. The G-Wagon isn't ever really going to be out of date. Even old G-Wagons are still cool now. I'm not entirely sure as to what the future has for this, whether there'll be a hybrid or what exactly is going to arrive on the horizon, but it's the workhorse and it's going to stay in the garage. And of course, it can also be popped up into the individual mode, go into manual with the paddles, drop a lot of gears because we've got 9 of them in total, down to 2nd gear, and then this thing sounds absolutely hooliganistic. And I tell you what's also strange is being back in a right-hand drive car, having obviously only driven left-hand drive cars for the last couple of months. It's a little bit odd. Normally I tend to go backwards and forwards from right-hand drive to left-hand drive, right-hand drive, whatever it might be, on a very quick basis, and obviously have a couple of left-hand drive cars now with the GT, the SLS Black Series, and the GT500, but the others are all right-hand drive. You do get used to it, but it is still a little bit odd. We are arriving then, so let's go and find out how the damage looks on the Taycan. Here we are with the cars, and the Senna is actually just moving out at the moment to get out the Ford GT, which I've kindly asked the guys to pull out for me. So what do we have here? We've got the GTR Roadster undercover, we've got the GTR Pro undercover, we've got the Heritage RS, the Ford GT, and the 675 LT. These have all been in storage at Dump Barn. Obviously none of them have been driven for a while, but Senna heading outside to the daylight, then the GT. Just kind of funny to see it like this. The Senna rolls back. That colour, this is gonna look so good in the garage. There we go, looking good, ready to be fully uncovered. Hasn't been driven for a while, so this is going to be the next to head out. Sounds good. Of course, having recently been where that exhaust was installed with my GT500, when last year, well, a year and a half ago, that exhaust was installed, and then this trip, being at Galpin with the GT500 to bring the original exhaust back to Florida, seems a very long time ago. Cool with the lift going up. I've missed this car. We need to go and take a look then at exactly what has happened to this car, but I'd also like to show you the state of charge, which is something I was a bit anxious about when I realised that it was going to be parked up for quite a while. My first electric car, my first time leaving an EV for quite so long, but the result is genuinely surprising. Something that is not surprising though is the weather back here. Overcast, drizzling. I have not missed this in the slightest. Some exciting news though, of course, is that you could win one of these, a Porsche Taycan Turbo S, along with $20,000 in cash, with taxes and shipping included, for US residents, all with Omaze, while supporting a good cause in the process. In this case, the GeneCo Foundation, whose mission is to save and transform lives in Africa, particularly focusing on the health and education of those in Nigeria. Your support provides life-changing scholarships for young female victims of terrorism and gender inequality, orthopedic surgeries for those in desperate need, and also critical medical care for vulnerable babies and pregnant women. You can find out more about how you could win a Porsche Taycan Turbo S while supporting the GeneCo Foundation at omaze.com/150, and you can also use the promo code SHME150 for an additional 150 entries as well. So check it out, and maybe you could be winning a Taycan Turbo S along with $20,000 in cash. For now though, let's go and take a look at the damage. What we're about to see could certainly have turned out worse than it is, but it's not ideal nonetheless. You can see exactly what has happened. Something that was alongside has caught that corner just a little bit too tight. The result is some minor scratching to the vinyl wrap. Now this can easily be replaced, a little bit like PPF, but you can see it's slightly distorted the bumper shape, and unfortunately this is the major problem. We have a straight crack here through the carbon fibre. Obviously the pinstripes can be redone back at Dub Customs, but this, we're gonna need to peel back the wrap, see how bad it is. Maybe some bits can be popped back into shape and slightly reformed. Hopefully it won't need entirely a new bumper, but we need to see what's happened to the volcano grey paint that's underneath just around these parts. Unfortunately, no note was left, nothing like that. Nobody has owned up to the mishap, and therefore it's completely on me to get that sorted out. So I'm not particularly amused by this, not what you want when you come back from an extended trip away, but alas, such is life. Get it fixed, move on, and forget about it. Let me come and show you though what's happened inside. I love that, the door handles popping out with the charge. Now very quickly actually, before I show you what we have right now, when I parked up the car, it had about 86% of charge 4 months ago. Since then, it's been driven about 60 miles, which based on my normal driving experience means it will have lost about 30% of charge. So you would expect this car to now have 56% left. Well, in fact, it's not far short of that. Let me come and show you the exact number that we have inside. It's been driven a little bit. We just need to press the button here, wake it all up. Everything comes into action, looking oh so nice in the process. And we have 40% of charge left. So it's lost, being parked, about 4% a month, a percent a week. I honestly thought it would lose so much more. If you think about other electronic devices, to only lose that little I don't know why, I just expected it was going to have a major problem. Of course, one of the guys here from Dump Barn, Lee, he was coming out to check on it to make sure all was well, and then eventually driving it out here, hence why it's done 61 miles in total since we parked it up. Now 1,124, but I honestly thought it would have gone down more. It uses the main car's power battery to charge up the 12-volt battery to make sure it never goes flat, so you don't really need to keep it on a trickle charger in the same way you do a supercar. But that's really... I don't know. I didn't set the idea in my mind. I tried to charge it up as much as possible, which is why I was on 86% when I left. The only downside of this is that we will probably need to charge it up later for things coming up. But hey, not too bad. Out of all of the Shmeemobiles, I've actually been quite looking forward to getting back behind the wheel of the Taycan because it has so many things about it that are totally unique. Obviously, the only electric car in my garage in total, but also that I only just picked it up, starting to learn about how to use it and how to live with it, and we will need to charge it up at some point later on today, which will be interesting. But obviously, the silence that comes with this, the instant torque, the immediate power delivery, but then down a country road like this, where it is now pretty miserable and gloomy weather, the cyclists and all of the cars, I think we're going to be waiting here for a moment. It is also a huge car to be squeezing down these lanes. Obviously very wide, very, very long. I'm sure it's the biggest car in my garage, bigger than the G63 in terms of its footprint. Yeah, this is actually surprisingly busy for a little countryside lane. I suppose that's what's happening at the moment. Parking sensors going off. But then when you turn up the driving mode selector and you go up into Sport Plus and you start to get these crazy noises out of it, the whirs, and the way it's just dialed in. Obviously we've got some pretty tight twisty roads just here, but it feels like a Porsche, you know, it feels like an exciting car to drive. Just with those added whirs. This is like being back in it for the first time. That was what I was looking forward to, because like I say, such a new car in the garage, there's so much about it that I don't yet know and still need to learn. It's definitely going to be a day of going backwards and forwards a little bit from one car into a next, but this is really the perfect car for going backwards and forwards from where I live to where the Shmeemobiles are going to live, to the new Shmuseum, because I'll be able to charge this at my base. We're going to get a charger installed, of course. It makes complete sense to do so. I'm actually going to pop it back into normal very quickly. And then you have the convenience of an EV in the City of London, which is obviously becoming very environmentally aware, and things are just easier to get around and to live with when you're driving an electric car than when you're driving a normal combustion engine car. So this will really be the main back and forth daily driver, we could say, the main way that I'm going to be getting around from now. And then if I'm going further afield, obviously considering the range limitations, that's when, if it's a shorter distance, you take this, but if it's a longer distance, the M3 or the G63 are very much going to serve those purposes. Obviously outside of the main trips, because I'd love, when it's possible again to travel into Europe, to take this on a road trip, to head towards the Nürburgring, to try and do a lap, to see if I can do 2 laps without the car kind of overheating or running out of power. We'll have to see exactly how that's going to go in due course, but I think it'd be really fun to try a road trip in an electric car. I just have no idea at the moment if that's going to work. It is so textbook that the weather today is atrocious. I just knew that my first day going for a drive back at home, it was going to be gloomy and miserable. But I am actually really enjoying this car. It makes no sense as a petrol head at heart to have so much fun in an EV, but down country lanes, the Taycan just drives like a Porsche. And I tell you, that's something I've been missing a little bit of recently, is the excitement of driving in Porsches in particular. Obviously I've owned my GT4 and the GT3, this is my third, but yeah. Good times. Needs must and all that, and the Taycan was down to 21%, which would have been enough to get home, but not enough to go anywhere really after that. So a quick stop, one of the new fast chargers that are quickly popping up, although at the moment, please note that due to limited power from the grid, these chargers are temporarily restricted to a maximum output of 150 kilowatts. Now you don't often get much faster than 150 kilowatts anywhere. I don't think I've ever really seen faster. So we have gone in 22 minutes up to 57. So we've gone 36% in 22 minutes. It says at 101 kilowatts. We've just gone over to grab a bite to eat very quickly, so not exactly the worst thing in the world. I do want to charge it a little bit more than that, maybe get it up to 70 or 80% or so in total, so that's good to go a little bit longer, because of course, as I have said many times, at the moment I do not have the ability to install a charger in my home underground garage. In the future I will have a decent fast charger, not a fast charger like these fixed really fast ones, but at least are faster than a normal 3-pin charger thanks to having the 3-phase electricity in the Shmeemuseum. So that will be set up. For now though, it's not too much of a chore. We'll just wait a little bit longer and then get back on the road. The Taycan is back in the garage then, exactly in the spot where I left it at the tail end of the last year and exactly where that mishap will have taken place. Now I tried to get the building management to check all the CCTVs because they are looking at the car from both sides, but unfortunately have not had any success in finding actually what happened to it. I suspect somebody parked just here, clipped the corner, kept on driving, perhaps didn't even know about it. So now I'm just going to get it sorted up and we'll move on from that. But this afternoon we've had a few more errands to run with the Taycan. It's sitting just below 60% of charge, but it's a brilliant car for getting around. You get into the routine and start to learn and understand how to use electric chargers. And of course, if I could plug in here, it would be great. We do have lights, we do have electricity, but I actually rent the spot, so I can't install a permanent charger in every space if in 6 months' time I might have moved on. You can see how that would get very expensive very fast, but it's great to be able to keep multiple cars here. You can just see though with the Taycan parked here that it is very, very big for the space. Now I've never seen these two spaces both occupied at the same time, but this car is parked right back to the wall. Perhaps I could get it maybe 2 inches, 5 centimeters closer to that side, but even still, it's taking up the entire space. So you can see how this would have happened by somebody either turning around or being squeezed into that middle space, just clipping it on the way out, grazing around the bumper, around the bodywork. I hope that this will pop back in, but we'll have to take off the vinyl and try and see exactly if any paintwork is going to be needed. We'll see how all of that goes, and obviously this will need to be replaced, but the original carbon piece can be kept in the Shmeemuseum. It will add to my growing collection of random car parts to be on display, which is actually quite fun in its own right. So today we've been to see a number of the Shmeemobiles, but there have been a few absentees. I mentioned earlier the Toyota GR Yaris, that's been off having a few upgrades done, which we're going to go and see very soon. The GT500 is of course in the USA. At some point down the line I will go through the import process, and of course I'll share that with you. I don't know if it will be in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or when exactly. We'll have to wait and see. The Aston GT8, last autumn I was driving that around Germany. It was transported directly actually to my parents' place, but my dad has been driving it since, and it's kind of made the most sense to just leave it with him for the time being, sitting alongside his DB11, ready at some point to bring it back towards the Shmeemuseum, although hopefully I'll go and drive it before too long as well. And then in addition to that, the SLS Black Series, you'll remember I dropped off with Cambridge Car Audio to have the audio system upgrade, which has been completed, but since then the car has been having a few peculiarities, so it's having those looked at the moment, and hopefully I'll have some more news on that in the future as well. So I think that covers everything that's here for the moment. The GT, the Senna, 675 LT, GT8 SLS Black Series, GTR Pro, GTR Roadster, G63, Taycan, Heritage RS, GR Yaris, and of course the GT500. The current Shmeemobiles. The soon to arrive Shmeemobiles are imminent surprise, the M3 competition, the GT Black Series, and a little bit later this year, the Hurricane STO, and or maybe some other surprises as well, all to come soon. For the time being though, good to see all of the cars, to get a quick update on what's going on, to see exactly what happened to this, which hopefully I can resolve without too much pain and trouble, and not too much time I hope as well, because this will be the perfect car now over the coming period to get around in its absence while it's off having this sorted, because of course if it needs any paintwork, that will take a little bit of time before it can get the vinyl wrap refitted as well. So I'll be driving the M3 probably a lot during that period of the G63, maybe to tow some things around too. But don't forget also, you could win a Porsche Taycan Turbo S, a new Taycan Turbo S, along with $20,000 in cash, with taxes and shipping included, with Omaze, while supporting a good cause. Omaze.com/150. Use the promo code SHME150 for 150 additional entries, and be sure to check that out. The link is down below as well. For now though, a bit of a garage update. Thank you very much for watching. As always guys, some cool stuff right around the corner with the Shmeemuseum and with the new cars. That's it for now though. I'll see you again very soon. Cheers!